Hey friends, I am here with sweet Lori Conway. She came to visit us from Missouri, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So those of you, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but if you do not follow her, she is Crazy Busy Mama. Crazy Busy Mama, and she is just precious and amazing. And she's here because she wanted to kind of learn some things from our office, and also you kind of saw this really more like a God wink, right?
Yeah, it totally was a God wink. Y'all reached out. My husband passed away suddenly, unexpectedly in April, and a couple months into that, if not sooner, y'all reached out and sent me some shirts, sent me some encouragement, and I looked at my daughter and I said, I don't know, there's something about those ladies. I'm gonna have to go meet them. And then I feel like when I started boarding the plane, just yesterday, I was like, what am I doing? Have you ever done something in your life where you're like, I said yes to that maybe before I should have said yes, but I felt like it was the right step to make. And so I'm honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And, you know, as you've been here, I've been thinking about, like, we've been having these conversations and we've been kind of helping one another and learning from each other, just kind of more on the influencer part of things. But then on the other part, like, I went home last night and I thought, you know, we don't really need to know, right, why God brought us together, because we might not know right this minute while we're here. But I think our friendship with Mama Sue and Angela and Melissa and Brittany and just all that, like, it's just going to continue to grow.
It's a community.
Right? It's a community.
Yeah.
And so, you know, everybody knows that one of the things that we say is stronger every day, and I can do hard things.
Yes. Yep.
And it's the mantra that helped Daryl and I get through something that was so difficult. And so, you know, you've been doing hard things.
Yeah, and life can be really, really difficult. And I think I would have said that prior to my husband's unexpected passing, but I didn't really know what that meant until that moment. And, you know, I could sit here and talk to you and just bawl, and life is hard. And what you see sometimes is the highlight reel. And especially from an influencer's perspective, like, we kind of know the reality of everything behind the scenes. We kind of joked about that over lunch, about how we'll try to make that little camera view look so perfect, you know, for picture reasons, for picture portrait, you know, that picture perfect kind of picture, because we all love to see that perfect picture, that perfection. But I think if we get really down to it, what we really love to see is real. And I know my platform started as Crazy Busy Mama. It still is Crazy Busy Mama, but my Crazy Busy Mama has taken on a whole nother entirely different meaning. God has put me in his story. I believe it's his story. It's not a fun story to be part of, but I do believe I have a story to share, and it's not a story that I ever wanted to be part of. It's not a story that I don't even want to be part of now, but I do wake up every day and I say, okay, I have changed my asking. I have all the questions in the world. So if you've ever experienced loss in your life, whether that's a spouse or a child or anybody that's important in your life, or maybe it's just the loss of a dream. I know we've all been there. Like, I've had losses of dreams. You know, this is the biggest loss of my life. My best friend, my partner, my everything. He worked together side by side, and I lost everything. But instead of asking the question why, because I'll never have the answer to that. Right. Instead of asking the question why me, because that keeps me kind of in that victim mentality of, like, weak, and being stronger every day, I started rephrasing and saying, okay, what now? God, you are still writing my story. What now? I'm done questioning why. I'll never have the answers to all of the things that happen that are bad in life, but I know who holds me and who has me and who's continuing to write my story. And so now I'm trying to reframe. Now, granted, it is not easy. Every moment is difficult. I'm a crazy busy mama, and I'm doing it the way I would have never intended it to do. But I can't control that part. But what I can control is that I can say, yes, I will be part of the story that he's writing for me. And how do I take the next step? And sometimes it's not knowing what that next step is. It's just taking that step out of faith and saying, you know, your slogan is stronger every day. What's kind of ironic about that is I've never said stronger every day, but I will wake up and I say, okay, you know, what now, God? But I will set kind of a goal for myself, even in my grieving, what can I do today that's something that's hard that I'm going to push myself to do. Now, maybe that hard is taking a walk around the block. Maybe that hard is getting out of bed. Maybe that hard is creating a piece of content. You know, maybe that hard is having a conversation with a child that's struggling and hurting. But knowing that I put my head on my pillow at night saying I did one thing to try to make a next step forward. And sometimes taking that step forward feels like you're taking 10 steps back. But it's like every little step that you take forward starts to compound. And I'm saying this, I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm seeing those things start to unfold, and I'm starting to feel a little stronger every day. That doesn't mean I feel stronger every moment,
Right.
but when I push myself outside of why me, and take the focus off me and start putting it on, okay, you're still writing my story's still unfolding, what now? It's helping me to kind of take those action steps when I feel paralyzed and broken and in my grief.
Right. Yeah. Well, and we've talked about too, like as you've been here, like you don't really know the answers, and we've talked about that everything is figure-outable.
Yeah.
When you think that everything is figure-outable, how do you feel about that? Everything is figure-outable.
I think it gives me a little bit of like, I just that breath of kind of a release, like I don't have to have it all figured out. You know, I am now a single mom, and again, I never would have imagined I would have lost my husband in my 40s. I don't know any other widows my age, and so I've never thought that I'd be doing this life alone. But to know that I can give myself grace and say, you know what, if I don't have the answers today, that's okay. I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I can figure it out as I go. And then also offering that extended grace to my children to help them to figure it out as they go. And one thing I will also say, Annie, is that, you know, being on the public eye, the platform, it's really difficult to grieve. And I've decided, and it's not for everybody, but I've decided to do that very publicly. And so when you're on my platform, you're going to see someone maybe put together with makeup on like today, but a lot of times you're going to see me just with a cup of coffee, with my hair in disarray, with tears running down my face, of sharing how life is it's really difficult. But I'm still finding hope in those difficult moments of being able to move forward. So I hope my crazy busy mama light eventually will come back, because I think if you see before videos of that tragic day to today, they're a little bit different. My face looks a little bit differently, but that's real life, and that's being raw, and that's showing everybody that, you know what, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to live this picture perfect life. You don't have to have things put together in a nice pretty box. Life is beautiful because it is a mess. Life is beautiful because you don't have it figured out. I've always prayed for an adventure in my life, and never ever did I think that adventure would be any sort of valley. But you have to realize that, like, when your life is full of adventure, even on a roller coaster, you have your high moments and then your low moments, right? It doesn't feel like if it's an adventure if you're always high.
Right.
And the higher peaks you have, the lower valleys you're going to feel. So the grief that I feel is very raw and very real. I would say I married my best friend, he was everything to me. Literally, we worked together. We did life together. He was my best friend. We've known each other since the 3rd grade. All of my memories, into my childhood, I could look at him, we would just know. All of my memories include him in some way. And so trying to figure out a life without that is really hard. But because I experienced the highest of peaks, I'm experiencing the lowest of valleys. And I prayed for that adventure. And so that's unfolding in my life right now. So I gotta know that I've had those high peaks, I've had the lowest of valleys. It's only gonna go up. And so the stronger every day I know it's happening, and I can feel I'm still in the valley, I'm still struggling, I think that's a moment by moment thing. But I have to know, again, the highest of valleys, the lowest of valleys, the highest of peaks, if I can say that right. I know it's gonna come back up. And so if you're discouraged,
right,
and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is the end, it's not the end, friend.
it's not the end.
It's not the end. He has so much more in store for you. Even though it feels like the end, you're gonna have that upswing again. And I'm saying that I don't really feel it. You know, sometimes you have to like faith it till you make it. I always say like fake it till you make it, but faith it till you make it. It's like, you know, you put the smile on when you don't feel like smiling, because you know what? It's that facial feedback theory of like that we learned in psychology in high school, that when you put a smile on, it helps somebody else smile. And then when you see somebody else smile, it helps you smile. And so it's encouraging to your heart, it's encouraging to other people. So when you can take it off that victim mentality of why me, why me, why me, it kind of goes back to that full circle. What do you have in store for me? What next? I need to smile at that hurting person so they can smile back at me, and I can feel their encouragement too. So it's about encouraging each other throughout the process.
Well, you are a blessing. You are a blessing to us in this office. I know you are to your followers. I know you will be to all of our followers. And so you're just a beautiful soul. Love you so much.
Thank you.
And I love watching you kind of move through this with such grace.
Thank you.
And we know that you can do hard things.
Thank you.
And you're a blessing to all of us. I
Love
love
you.
you.
Love you too.